In today's video I'm going to show you that knowing the inversions of the 3-string triad shapes is a game changer when it comes to connecting chords with a bass line or in a solo context. Bass hack coming up! Hey bass hackers, Misha here with MMEducation, showing you how to learn faster and practice smarter by using the latest findings in neuroscience, so you can become the bass player you want to be. Express yourself freely on your instrument and connect with your audience on a deeper level. So, if you're new here, consider subscribing, and at any point during the video, go check out the show notes in the YouTube description. Bullet points for this video, links to related videos and to the music I'm using, as well as links to free resources, all in the YouTube description. So dig in, but for now, let's go and build some new neural pathways first. Here's a problem that a lot of us bassists have, and it's connected to the instrument and the function in the band. We bass players always think root notes first, which is good if we just play a bass line, but it also limits us because we tend to, also when we play fills or solos, always look for the root note of the key or the chord and then look for the scale or the arpeggio that sits above it. This whole thought process just takes too long to come up with really cool ideas. Plus, we then tend to play the root note first. Not just think it, but play it as well. Just to have that, okay, from here, this is home bass, now I can do anything. But with fills and solos, we don't necessarily always want to start at home bass, every chord change. That gets boring pretty quickly. As bass players, we think of chord tones related to the root note. But what we should do in solos, and even in bass fills, or just to connect one chord to the other with a bass line, we should think in chord tones related to the chord that was before and the chord we want to dissolve into. How can I use the chord tones available to smoothly get to the next note that I'm aiming for, which might be the root note if it's a bass line, which might not be a root note if it's a solo. In short, when playing over a chord progression, think voice leading instead of looking at every chord on its own. Here are the minor triad inversions. Root position, let's just play D minor, D on the A string, 5th fret, F on the 3rd fret of the D string, and A on the 2nd fret of the G string. All together. For the first inversion, all we have to do now is we'll take the root note, the lowest note, 1 octave up. So 1 octave would be 7th fret on the G string. So now we have to move these two notes so we can play them all at the same time. Formula for that is pretty simple. Just go 5 frets up, 1 string down. So this note, the A on the G string goes to the A on the D string, 7th fret. And the F on the D string goes to the F on the A string, 8th fret. And we could fret it like this with 3 fingers, or we can fret it like that with just 2. So we have number 1, number 2. Third inversion. Same thing. We take the lowest note, take it up an octave. The F goes to the 10th fret of the G string, and those two notes go up 5 frets and down a string. So we get this shape. And now we have the 2 inversions plus the root position of the D minor triad. Root position, first inversion, and second inversion. Now let's have a look at major. We're gonna stay in D, but we're gonna do major now. D major, all that changes is the F becomes an F sharp, so it's not on the 3rd fret, so it's on the 4th fret, obviously. So, same thing. D goes up an octave. The A goes to the 7th fret of the D string, and the F sharp to the 9th fret of the A string. First inversion. Now for the third inversion, same thing. F sharp goes up an octave to the 11th fret of the G string, and the other two, 5 frets up, 1 string down. Second inversion of a major triad. Root position, first inversion, second inversion. Here you can see the shapes one more time, and if you look at them and compare major and minor, you might notice a couple of things. The first and the second inversion of each of these triads is geometrically the same in minor and major. It's just mirrored around the vertical axis and then around the horizontal axis, right? You get 1 here, 2 there, goes to 1 here, 2 there. 1 here, 2 there, goes to 1 here, 2 there. And even the root position is just a mirror image of itself. The root note, then for minor, 2 frets apart, and then 1 fret further. And for major, it's the same thing if we start the other way around. 1 note, 2 frets further, and 1 fret further. So one thing that's really cool about 3-string triads is that you really see how close all these notes are to each other when playing a chord progression. Let's take a 1, 5, 6, 4 in D major. We start with the root shape. Now we go to A. We already have the A here, so we leave that one. We just move the other two ones. D becomes C sharp, the major third of A. And the F sharp becomes E, the 5th of the A major. So we start here. D major to A major, first inversion. Then we go to B minor, first inversion. So from here to there, just because they sit right next to each other, all notes move, but they all just move 1 diatonic step. We're looking for small movements so we can really connect the chords without always ending on the 1 on the root note. So we get D major, A major, B minor, and then only 1 more note changes to go to the G major. So now we can already see, if I want to get from D to A, probably won't play the A as the last note on D, because I might want to resolve into it, playing the root note on the 1. If I play solo now, I might want to play one of either the root note or the F sharp last, so I can dissolve them into the next, or into the closest chord tone of the following chord. Here's a little example how I get from D to A in a solo context, or maybe even a bassline context, without insisting on playing the A on the 1. Want another one? It still makes perfect sense because it's all chord tones. It could as well be a bass line. It's gonna get melodic. There's gonna be a little bit more focus on this bass line than just... Be aware of that. You don't want to steal the show from any of the other musicians. You want to make them sound better. Go out of whack with your bass line, if that makes sense musically. Let's go to the next chord. We're here now. at the A major and we want to go to the B minor. So now all of the chord tones work because they all just move diatonically up one note. I think you get the idea. Let me play a few rounds so you have a few examples and then you can try it out by yourself. Here are a couple of examples how you can apply the 3-string triad inversion shapes for bass fills. Let's just play G minor, C7 chord progression and come up with some fills. Of course, you can go way further with this and use other triads of the same key to play your fills, but start out with the ones from the chord and expand from there. So today I showed you how to avoid the root note curse by learning the inversions of the 3-string triad shapes. I also showed you how this impacts your freedom of note choice when jamming a bass line by understanding harmony on a vertical level. Now it's up to you to not just take in the information but create new neural pathways by applying the newly gained knowledge. Question of the day: which is your favorite chord progression to jam on? Let us know in the comment section, and remember, some of the coolest ideas come from you and the MMEducation community. So connect with everyone in the comment section, and if there's a specific topic that you would like to have covered in one of the future episodes, let me know. I'll do an episode on that topic just for you. Alright bass hackers, thanks for checking out this video. I hope it got you one step further towards becoming the bass player you want to be. Definitely subscribe for more videos just like this one, and if you want to deep dive into the universe of triad shapes, go check out my Triad Hack series right here. Until next time, MMEducation is helping you to learn faster and practice smarter. So keep up the good work. Love and bass.